What's going on, everybody? It is the House of Orange Live. Lady Vols season comes to a close today at the hands of Texas. It's good to be with you. It's good to be back home to be with you today as well. So let me see. There we go. Let's get the banner up here. A little out of sorts here, but we're in the flipper my stats. There we go. So Lady Vols 59, Texas 67 today. Carrie is here. It's Frank. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the season. We're going to talk about what's ahead. But obviously, we're going to talk about today's game as well. So you talked about it. Me and you discussed it a little bit before we went live. What's the difference in today's game to you?
I would say the overall difference is just, of course, the fourth quarter in itself. You scored 9 points in a quarter. That's not good enough at any level of basketball, essentially, to win a competitive game in a tournament. You scored 1 point in the last 4:53 of the game. That's never – I don't care who you play. If it's within a 10-point game and you only score 1 point in the last 4.5 minutes, you're not winning that game. You just simply weren't making shots. And you can sit there and you can say, officials, the fouls were awful. It was just a horrendously called game. Whenever you finish out the game like that in the fourth quarter, then it's kind of hard to blame it all on the officials, in my opinion. Tennessee was in a great position to win that game. I was really confident going into the fourth quarter. Then you just played just completely awful. Turnovers, missing shots, couldn't rebound, playing bad defense. It was essentially a nightmare quarter. You could pretty much sum it up as that. Overall, it's okay to be really upset about how the fourth quarter went down, but in the realistic scheme of things, you had an absolute great season. You went to Ohio State, you killed USF, you play Ohio State, who was undefeated this entire year at home. They hadn't lost in a year. You whooped the fire out of them. You get revenge for them, essentially for football, beat them on their own court. Kim Caldwell leads Tennessee to a Sweet 16 in her first season. You play Texas. You're tied going into the fourth quarter. You're battling it back with them in a game where you hadn't really played good. You hadn't made shots the entire game, yet you had gritted your way into a tie ball game. In a game against a coach that's been doing it for a long time and had no business even having that game so close. You would think Texas being the way they are, considering everybody's like, oh, Texas is going to kill Tennessee. Texas is going to go to the Final Four, all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, their coach is so good. Okay, well, they struggled mightily in the 2 times they played Tennessee, and one of them was without Kim Caldwell. So looking up Tennessee basketball, Lady Vol basketball, it's on the rise. I would guarantee it. This Sweet 16 appearance will be the shortest run we see in the next few years. I'd assume that Tennessee's at least a lock to make the Sweet 16 from here on out, especially considering the fact that I feel like in the future we will be hosting. I think this may be the only year where we're not hosting the first and second round. I would bet a lot of money on that.
You think a lot of that post game with Texas coach and Kim Caldwell it seemed like it was very complimentary what he was saying. Yeah. I wonder if he's like, I'm getting close to being done here, and I'm glad because I'm not going to have to deal with you anymore here as well.
I think he recognized it. I mean, you play him one time, he doesn't have to face Kim Caldwell essentially the first time you play him. We give him fits in the first time we play him. We play him again, we essentially give him fits again. So it was kind of like a respect thing of knowing, honestly, I may want to get out of this. If Tennessee's going to be, if the Lady Vols are going to come back and be a program again, I don't need another team in the SEC being as good as we are. So, it's kind of props to you. I really hope we don't see you that much over the next few seasons.
Yeah, no doubt. Make sure you hit that that share. If you share it out, if you haven't already, share it out. Somebody you may know it's Lady Vols fan has or has not checked it out. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button as well. Super chats, super thanks are greatly appreciated. Here, let's get in some of the comments here. What's up, Kyle? The one I'm going to hit here. He said, in his opinion, Texas didn't win that game. Tennessee gave it to them with all their turnovers. I'll tell you this, though. I get it. I look at the turnover battle, though, on the day. Lady Vols at 18 turnover. The fourth quarter was the difference. I mean, 8-point difference in that fourth quarter. And I've complained about this the entire NCAA tournament. The live stat regular season live stats are very thorough. They're very detailed, and you can see them quarter by quarter with it. The NCAA stats suck. There's nothing to them. They're just total for the game. It doesn't break down my quarter. Oh, tough break for the UT there. That's got to be called. But anywho, Tennessee baseball, they are playing right now. Got that on. Down 4-3, South Carolina in the sixth. I've got to watch the play. It's a line drive right at him. It's
who fumbled it?
Yeah. Oh, that was close at third. I wonder if they'll review that. But anyhow, let me get back on task here. Here, to me, is the difference in the ball game. I'm just going to cut right to it here. Texas, from 3-point range, 3 out of 7, 42%. Field goals, 27 out of 58, 46.5%. Lady Vols, 37.8% from field goal, 19% from 3-point range. Turnovers, 18 to 14 for the Lady Vols. Lady Vols win the rebounding battle 39-36. Shooting percentage, that's what it comes down to for me. You cannot go those stretches. Like you said, how many minutes was it they went? Like 5 minutes at the end?
Pretty much. Last 5 minutes, 1 point scored, and that was a free throw, of course.
Yep, can't do that. And looking too at the free throws, I want to look at that one. Texas, 10 out of 12, 83%. Lady Vols, 4 out of freaking 10. Are you kidding me? Spencer, 1 out of 6. Whitehorn, 1 out of 2. That was it. Hollingshed, 2 out of 2. You got to hit your free throws. That's to me, nothing. Yeah. And Spencer, I love Spencer. She's been great for this team. I can't live with 1 out of 6 from my point guard at the free throw line. Now, even if she goes 6 for 6, though, they still lose that game. Yeah. So it's not like it was the difference in the game by any means. But neither team's getting to the line a whole lot in this game. And it really come down to shooting. Texas outshot Tennessee. That's what it is. I mean, we look at calls, whatever. I mean, there were some I saw, but I didn't have a big problem with it. It come down to, you look at quarter number 1, Texas outscored Tennessee 21-13. Quarter number 4, Texas outscored Tennessee 17-9. It was the middle quarters this time where the Lady Vols actually excelled. They won those 2 quarters by a total of 37-29. Only problem is they lost the other 2 quarters 38-22. That's your difference in the ball game. Didn't start well, didn't finish well along the way. But we can sit here and go over it all day long. Let me hit some more comments here as well. I'm going to highlight the ones I won. I'm going to highlight the members. Papa J, I'm upset some because we beat ourselves. Sorry, Ethan. My dog knocked my phone out of my hand. It is what it is, Papa J. Come on. Surely this has not happened. Have you seen this? Are people really calling for Caldwell's job?
No, I haven't seen that. It's probably the Kelly Harper lovers that thought that she actually did a good job as the coach.
I'm going to put it real freaking point blank to you. If you're in here today calling for Kim Caldwell's job, take your ass to the house and pull for go to Missouri and pull for Kelly Harper or somebody else. If you are calling for Kim Caldwell's job after what she did this year, after that previous staff totally neglected recruiting, they absolutely shit the bed with recruiting for how many years now, did nothing to build that roster. Kim Caldwell inherited a square peg and a round hole, and she made the best she could with it. Good players, maybe didn't fit her system. Went out, got transfer portals. Give me 1 second.
You're fine.
She went out and got players to fit her system with it, and she got this team to the Sweet 16. You touched upon it. They drilled South Florida. They're the only team that beat Ohio State at home this year. Kim Caldwell did a fantastic job this year. Go right ahead.
I'll say, just from my point of view, I've watched more Lady Vol basketball this year than I have in my lifetime. Yep. I would have never in my life, because I wasn't old enough to watch the past summer days. So don't attack me. I wasn't old enough for that. So please give me a break with that. Like I would have never watched Lady Vol basketball. I watched a little bit. I watched the Tennessee UConn games, even when Warlick was the coach and Harper was the coach. Maybe a occasional game every once in a while if me and my dad's watching it. Other than that, I didn't really watch the games. But this year with Kim Caldwell, I've been tuned into the majority of the games whenever I'm not at work or am free. And like today, I sat down and I watched the 3/4 of the game because I missed the first quarter. And I would have never done that. I would have turned it on whenever I saw it was a tied game in the fourth quarter if it was Kelly Harper. Other than that, I had no care about Tennessee basketball. What Kim Caldwell has done with this program in a year has drawn in fans like me that were never really interested in women's basketball. And just the scheme that she plays is so interesting and so entertaining. You have games like Tennessee and Ohio State. That's one of the best basketball games I ever saw in my life. I mean, that third quarter was literally amazing. Like, that's the best quarter of basketball I've probably ever watched. Probably you could even consider best half of basketball I ever watched. So it's weird. You can't say anything negative in your right mind to even begin to think to down on Kim Caldwell for what she's done this year. I mean, she had a baby during the season. Like, she has a month or 2-month-year-old baby sitting at the house or in their hotel room right now. So there's nothing negative you can say. I mean, she led us to the Sweet 16 and she lost to a coach that's been doing it a whole lot longer than she has, with a roster that's been there a whole lot longer than we've been here. And it's just there's nothing. You can only say good things about Kim Caldwell, I feel like. And if not, you really need to take a look in the mirror. I think if you're like hating on Kim Caldwell, you need to take a look in the mirror, put some of your Tennessee stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and go buy you some Missouri gear and enjoy not winning anything in any sport.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, we did this game and
Yeah.
we cost ourselves. That's one thing. That's fine. You're questioning the game. You're dissecting the game. But if you're on here saying Kim Caldwell needs, I'm just gonna be totally honest. And if I lose anybody over this, if you're calling for Kim Caldwell's job, you're an idiot.
Or even to do a better job. I feel like. I mean, she did everything you could ever ask for. Everything.
I mean, I would have loved to have won this game. I would have loved to went to the Elite Eight. I'm like you. I've watched, and I was around for the Summit era. Yeah, I watched. I mean, we didn't get the coverage back then that we have now of them. You didn't get every game back then. I mean, when you got the postseason, you would get regional stuff. And, of course, the Holtzclaw years, the Parker years, those two ruled, Holtzclaw and Parker. And just the Summit era up toward, after the end. You watched what you could of it when you got to the tournament. There was a lot of great years. But since Pat had to retire, I'm like you, man. I've watched more this year than I've watched the whole time since Pat retired. It's not been a watchable product.
No.
Warlick couldn't get it done. I've watched. I just throw the freaking hat. I'm fired up now. So if you're a Harperite, all right, Harpery here, go back to that South Carolina game last year and tell me how good of a freaking coach that was. Yeah. That was the absolute most horrendous, sorriest, most terrible coaching job I've seen in my life. You had the number one team in the nation beat. You called for a foul on a desperation heave, and then you leave the inbound passer to throw it in. I don't care if the lady has never a three-pointer in life. She plays for the number one team in the nation, and you can't sit here and tell me she's never taken a three-pointer in practice. Yeah. She squared it up pretty damn good, and she nailed it and broke their hearts, and she sealed the Kelly Harper era right there. If you're a Harperite, Missouri is waiting for you right now. So I really hope these are just trolls, Blockhead, that you're seeing out there, because if not, come on. Just give me a break. What Kim Caldwell did, she did a phenomenal job this year. We're all disappointed in today. If anybody's disappointed in the season, like you said, go look in the mirror, go to Facebook Marketplace or whatever, go to the local thrift shop or whatever and sell your stuff or give your stuff away. That's what it boils down to on there. And again, if I hurt a feeling on here, get over it and move along with it. But I do feel we've got what I like about this channel, we have a pretty logical group they'll call out a game. We'll all say, yeah, this happened during the game, but everybody's pretty logical on here for the most part. So let's hit some more. What's some more thoughts you had on this game? What stood out to you? What's some things you liked in this game? Obviously, we talked about the fourth quarter. What's some things you liked along the way they did that you thought, yeah, man, they did this and it enabled them to kind of do their thing and be in this game?
I would say kind of like the gritty aspects of things. I think the full court pressure did really well. There was throughout the entirety of the game. I mean, the intensity was there. Tennessee wasn't shooting the ball as well as we would have liked, yet you still got what you wanted out of Tennessee. Defense was there. You were there in transition. You were all over the place, so you played good. I feel like you rebounded the ball pretty well. You kind of lacked that later in the game, but overall, I was still pretty impressed with that because whenever you don't shoot the ball the greatest, you can make up for it in some ways, and I feel like Tennessee did. And one thing is they didn't give up. You could see teams that do give up in those situations, and I get that the fourth quarter played out the way it did. Tennessee still had that game had that within 4 points with less than 2 minutes to play. They played pretty much a really stinking bad quarter, and they still had it within 4 points with less than 2 minutes to play. So it was there. Like you had a chance there. So to not give up on that, I understand you lose and you do kind of choke away that game. But overall, it's just like you got what you wanted. They gave everything. You could visibly see they gave everything. They were exhausted by the end of the game. And anything and everything you could have ever asked for out of this team, they almost pretty much provided you. Because, I'm pretty happy about the way the game went. There's, of course, negative things I can think of. There's, of course, positive things I can think of. Overall, it kind of is what it is. It stinks to lose, but I'm trying not as much to get so disappointed over the game as the fact of trying to enjoy the fact that we did have a really stinking good season. That UConn win changed the program, in my opinion.
Yeah, this was going to be a tall task regardless. Texas is one of the best teams they've made at the end. I can't remember how many Elite Eights they've made in the last. You hit the nail on the head.
4 of the last 5.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you hit the nail on the head. Their coach has been there a while. He's had time to build his roster. Kim Caldwell's, again, inherited a roster who totally neglected high school recruiting. But, I say that, and you look at what Rick Barnes is doing now. He's not necessarily neglecting it, but his emphasis is more on the portal. But, what they did this year, man, it was fun. It was exciting. And I've said it the whole year. There's going to be nights when this team is on where they're fun to watch. And there's going to be nights when they're not on that they're going to be really frustrating to watch. It's the style of play.
Yeah.
And, today I go down the stat line for them. Whitehorn 16, Spencer 12, Darby 5, Spear 2. That's a tough one for Spear in her last game. 1 out of 8, 0 out of 3, 2 points on the day. And she was one that was, for a point in time, your consistent scorer. Hollingshed 2, Spearman 13 and 7, Latham 2, Boyd 0, Cooper only 7, and then Puckett, Strickland, Wynn, Wells, Darby, Adjudele, all 0. That's I'm not so much worried about the last 6. It's Cooper and Spear are 2 that you've relied on a lot to really kind of do their thing, and the fact they combined for 9 points today. I've seen somebody thought Whitehorn had a tough day. Whitehorn, she had some mistakes, no doubt, but she missed some shots close that I thought you got to get those to go down. But still, she had 16. She had a good day, I thought, overall. It is what it is. You got to have all your main players doing their thing against a team like Texas. And, the fact of the matter is they didn't today. They didn't. They just didn't. Against a team like that, and even if they would have gotten by Texas to TCU and beyond, they were pretty much going to have to play top-notch basketball moving forward. Ohio State was on a different level than Texas. Regardless you played them at home or not. And I agree with you. I think this will be the last year you won't see this Lady Vols team hosting. Tough end of the end. I don't know. I wouldn't even say it's a tough end of the year. It was they played hard. I mean, they made mistakes, but you were within 8. That was a winnable game today. I think you can go in saying, yeah, man, we did a few things here and there. We could have won that game, but we knew you were pretty much, you're going to have to, especially late. And that fourth quarter was that was definitely their worst quarter of the day. So you've pretty much hit on a lot of it. And I agree with everything you've said. Is there anything you want to do to kind of wrap up this season? Not necessarily, we're not wrapping up the show. We're going to look at next year, but just to wrap up this season in general. I feel like you've hit a lot, but is there anything else you kind of want to hit on that?
I guess the next steps right now is just get some good basketball players out of the portal. I think that's the only thing that you really have left. Of course, enjoy the fact that you did have a pretty successful season under a first-year head coach, and the first time in truly a real program. I mean, respect to Marshall, but let's be real here. Overall, I just think there's nothing else to really talk about other than the transfer portal. I mean, the recruiting, high school recruiting is there. She's nailed the high school recruiting. I feel like, of course, there's probably another girl or two that she needs to land or possibly get more involved in or whatever you want to say regarding that. But the transfer portal, I mean, that's what men's and women's right now, that's the most important thing if you're not playing anymore. So it's just go out there, find somebody that fits your style of play, fits your program, fits your culture, and bring them in.
Totally agree. And that's like you hit the nail on the head. The portal's the key now. Your teams that are going deep in tournaments are more veteran oriented. Duke men's is kind of the exception, but still Duke takes transfers now too. So they, Cooper Flagg is kind of in a league of his own in terms of freshmen. But now you've got 5 top 50 freshmen coming in next year.
Very nice.
If you're the Lady Vols, that's pretty nice. And you got the Paldo twins, you got Seville, you got Hurst, and you've got what's the girl from Canada? Why am I forgetting this right now? I shouldn't be, but anyhow, because she's one of the top ones in the class. Somebody help me out in the chat here on this. You Lady Vols followers, help me out here, please. So I'm going to look it up. Prawl, that's right. Denia Prawl. That's it. Thank you, Harold. Really appreciate that. I was drawing a total blank. I was thinking Paldo. That's the Paldo twins on it. But you've got one of the Paldos, you've got Prawl, and you got Seville are all top 20, pretty much. Hurst is top 50. The other Paldo twin is top 50. And what you're going to really need, they talked about Spencer being kind of the catalyst, the quarterback. She's gone. So you're going to need that point guard next year. Well, I think you've got that covered with who you got coming in. Now, looking at the current roster, I don't know if you got it pulled up or not here. I'm going to pull the roster up.
No, I don't have the current roster pulled
up. All right. So here's what you lose. I'm going to share it out here. Here, we'll kind of look this together. Here we go. All right, Spear. She is a senior. She's out of eligibility. Heck of a career. Hate to see her go. Transferred from Wake Forest. Tough last game for her, but still, great Vol. She did a great job. Puckett, out of eligibility. A long way. Whitehorn is back. She has a year left. Boyd, redshirt freshman out of Las Vegas, started to have more of a role along the way. She's back. Wynn, I'm pretty sure it's Wynn, is the one that redshirted, and she'll be back. Spencer's out of eligibility. Wells, it is Wynn. Wells out of eligibility. Spearman is back. Think about the improvement that Z Spearman made from the whole year. And they talked about that during the telecast. Z Spearman made a lot of improvement this year. Darby back, Strickland back. Ajadele out of eligibility. Tess Darby out of eligibility. Latham's back. Hollinshed out of eligibility. Cooper, redshirt sophomore. part of me wonders if anybody. I think in this day and age, you got to expect somebody may hit the portal.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple I could see hitting the portal. There's three in mind, and one of them, there's one I'm curious about. One of our main ones, but other than that, there's a couple with eligibility. I wonder if they see there may be better opportunities somewhere else. But you got 5 coming in. You got most of your, pretty much your top players coming, for the most part, coming in. And then you're going to have portal as well. To me, I think you need some bigs. And what are you looking at with point guard? The Paldos can play it, but do you want to get a veteran point guard in? And the good thing about the Kim Caldwell system, she plays so many.
Yeah,
playing time's not an issue if you get them in, and so I think she's got a real chance. And there's some really good players in the portal too. I've seen some talk about the girl from Florida State that's the big scorer. I would bet your USC's, South Carolina's, and stuff will be in on that one. But Kim Caldwell now has a product to sell. She has a season to sell. Last year, it's pretty much, we're probably selling the brand. We're telling you what we're doing. You can look at it, like you said, at Marshall. It's St. Marshall, though. Now you've done it in the SEC.
Yeah.
And that would be really funny, the Ohio State girl that ignored them.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
I think, do you think that was overblown?
Nah, she's a yapper, so
yeah.
I don't think you disrespect an opposing team coach. Like that's a big sign of character, and I think that in itself is a reason why she won't come to Tennessee. Like, nah, you're not going to say that or do whatever you did to Kim Caldwell, and then expect to get a email or a text message. Hey, this is Coach Caldwell from Tennessee. We'd love to have you on a visit. That's just not going to happen.
The FSU players already committed to South Carolina. Well, I'm not surprised. But get out. Somebody just hit a 2-run bomb.
I had to be Fisher. Yeah, I'm a little behind you. You told me before it happened here. Yep. Low and inside pitch. Right over the
5-4.
Yeah, baby.
That's big. That's big for him.
That's huge.
Sneed's in. I'll let Sneed finish it. So, sweet. All right. Let's see. I think they need rebounding. And the girl from Ohio State did hit the portal, Kyle, for sure, because I've seen her mentioned with Tennessee. I don't see her coming here. I can't see them recruiting her after.
No.
The way, but we're not there. Maybe it was not. But the way Kim Caldwell turned around and looked at her, that didn't look like. That looked to me like somebody was kind of pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll see. So men are up 5-4. That's pretty much bottom. What do you think the needs? That's Keelan pinch hitting. So, what do you think the needs are for this team next year to take that next step? We'll try to wrap this up so we can get to baseball.
Yeah, I would say
we've talked about as much as we can here, but
of course, just try to get some more girls that are willing to score, willing to fit the team. I think another big would be nice, and just some more. What do you want to call it? Role players, kind of like get you a Jemai Meshack for the women's team. Like I think that would be really helpful. Like I feel like it's important in recruiting for right now with Lady Vols, just to get some girls that'll fit the program to try to take us to the next step. If T Coop comes back, you got a really good scorer there. Spearman's really good. You got the freshman coming in. Just get a girl out of the portal was really successful at the team she was at this year, and I think you'll be in a really good spot.
I agree with this one by Harold. Dead-eye three-point shooter. I agree. I think
I would like that.
Spear was kind of our one this year, but, man, I felt like the end of the year she wasn't her best at the end of the year, because there was a point in time earlier in the season she was big time, and then at the end, she had her moments, but like today, she just wasn't there. So we'll see. On it, Kyle, I'll hit some videos on the men's stuff. We're just going to wrap up here in a minute. We're going to just stick to the women for now, and I'll get some stuff. I know we got the guy from Virginia visiting for the men's portal, but there'll be a lot more. They've got so many slots to fill. on that. But I think we've hit our final thoughts. I think we've hit all of it. I think the two of us are in agreement. I think a lot of you all are too on here. I thought it was a good year. I'm like Carrie. I probably watched more Lady Vols this year than I've watched in, I wouldn't say ever, but because I was around during the Summit era. But, we didn't have the TV coverage then that we had now either. Now, I'm not saying I was a diehard then, but I watched them a lot in the tournament, especially because they were always good. You got championships fairly often under Summit. But I watched them a lot more this year, and it was fun, man. It's a fun system, and I think especially when she gets her players in there, it's going to be hell. She's going to bring, what is it, the old Nolan Richardson? It's going to be 40 minutes of hell at that point, because she can rotate in 10 to 12 top-notch players and just never miss a beat. And she's got the system to sell on it as well. When they all fit, when it's all round peg and a round hole, everybody better watch out on that, because this system, it will gas teams out. It will gas them out. And especially when you've got the quality that you mentioned it, the hockey line. When the hockey line comes in and you don't miss a beat,
it's good.
Yeah, you're going to make teams really pay at that point. I'm wrapping up. I think it's a good year. Portal, I'll be all over it. Portal's my favorite time of year, because Portal is good for business on here. That's where subs and everything, that's where views come from. Portal, we'll probably start hearing names very soon with the Lady Vols. I hadn't heard anything. I've just seen some mentioned, but nothing specific so far. When they feel that, and we may see some leave. There's some I could see leaving as well. We'll see how they fit as well. But we're going to wrap up. Baseball's in the 8th. I think we want to watch the end of the baseball game. I'll have a post-game video for you later. But appreciate Kerry joining. He's Kerry. This is Frank. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like, the share, the subscribe. Check out the link in the description. Super chat, super thanks. Greatly appreciated. You guys have a great rest of your evening. And we'll see you when we see you.